I think art collecting is important, period. Okay, and it's particularly important for African Americans. And the reason I think that's true is because, you know, culturally we are losing. I feel we are losing our heritage unless those of us can pass it on to younger people. And a lot of our art is culturally based. And a lot of the things that we try to express in our art is culturally based. Now, I got the new aesthetic genre that's coming along in the hip hop and the new age music and you know, fashion and art. But for me, if a young person doesn't have that connection and can pass that connection on, we'll lose a whole generation of our culture. And that's so important. And I think collecting art does that. I think if we can identify different objects and different feelings and mood and inspiration in our artwork, we're passing on just more than that painting. You know, and I think art itself is inspiring. When people collect art, they're buying something that hopefully that speaks to them. You know, I got the whole thing about investment, and that is another piece of it, you know. But first I'm going to speak to the idea of collecting because it's something inherently that we need to foster our growth and our spirits. And, you know, I think culture and art and those types of things, that's what separates us from other species. You know, the basics of eating and resting and shelter is what, you know, other species, animals need. If we don't foster our spirit, and see, when I walk into a room, you have a certain feeling, you know, and when I walk into my room and I see my art and my plants and those things that, you know, I collected or I brought into my space, it takes me to a place of, you know, why I bought that, you know, why I added that to my space, what makes this thing in particular, why did I get this piece rather than that piece? It spoke to me, you know, and I'm an art collector myself. I've collected art for the last 20, 30 years, you know. So, and see, those in collecting art, those pieces have a story behind them. I got a piece from a child when I was in South America, and it was a big fancy reception for the you know, the premier artists of this particular venue, and they had the children's art on the easels, you know, on the side, you know, and no one's really paying the children's art any attention. And I just happened to, I was sitting there, and I was, you know, kind of halfway noticing what was going on this side of me, but I was more focused on the artwork of these kids. And this one piece I just kept looking at it and going back to it. So when I inquired about it and I decided I wanted it, you know, I moved the process forward, and I will never forget the child who actually created this piece of artwork. He lost his mind. He started running and screaming, and he got so excited. And that was 30 years ago. And I often wonder, and I purchased the piece, and I wonder, you know, did he become an artist? Did that experience change his life? You see, but I can reflect back to that incident, and I realize that, you know, I made a difference in somebody's life. See, so for me, all those reasons, and then again, like I said, investments, it's one of the few things that's appreciating in value right now, you know, and hopefully, you know, people will look at that and think, okay, now if I catch an artist when they're growing and catch an artist who is committed, now you can discern yourself just from doing your own research which artists these people are, you know, because now seems like a lot, you know, and I'm not begrudging anybody of their choice as far as careers or what they decide to do with their lives, but, you know, the ones that have done the work, the ones that have invested the time, the ones that have grown their art, they have worked through the processes of growth. To me, that's what I'm invested in. You see, because you can have fly by night anything, right? But when you start investing in those particular artists, you're not only doing them a service, you're doing yourself a service. And I think it's all good.